The other night, after the Spurs game, you said football is volatile. Do you feel that at the moment, maybe more than you've ever felt it in your career? Like one week, it's Arsenal under the microscope. What's going wrong with Arsenal? The next week, it's you won the North London derby, your title challenges. So do the fluctuations now feel more violent than ever before?
Well, it is volatile because you have certain expectations, and when the expectation is to win, so it's volatile for all the teams that are in that category. It is volatile because or you are there or you're not good enough. That's it. So, and not good enough means a result. It doesn't mean necessarily in sports a performance, but we have to accept that.
So when everything else, certainly outside the club, is like this, how do you stay like that?
Just having some perspective, analyzing what we do, analyzing the data, striving to be better, but understanding as well a lot of the things that we do right. Because if not, you just throw everything away and it's not right.
When you go back into the dressing room, what are the numbers that tell you you've played well? Or is it more the eye? The eye, I know how my team have played.
More than that is you have a game in mind. And we understand a game that we want to play is going to give us the best chance to win it. How similar that game it was. And if that game has been shifted, how good we've been with that game that we had to play, basically. And XG is one thing, but XG has to be really well analyzed in a lot of factors because you can get very frustrated with it as well. So it's the dynamic of the game, what the sequence of play, how it happened, who was involved in that, how accurate we've been in every phase. It's a lot.
How often, that's fascinating to me, how often does a game go how you imagined it?
In periods of times, a lot. Understanding why it goes the right way and the wrong way. So that's not too difficult to predict.
It's not, okay. But is football not one of those things, it's like the other night, dominant, 1-0 down. Even for a guy that understands football like you do, football's impossible to pin down.
Yeah, but I mean, if you defend a second phase of a corner at the edge and you turn your body, it's very likely that you're going to concede a goal, a deflection or a penalty. So that's probability. I'm not surprised about that. I was really annoyed that with everything that we've done, we haven't scored, now we concede. It's on us.
When as a player did you start to look at football, you know, in that kind of granular detail?
14, 15 years old in Barcelona. They changed the world to me. So it's like the sky opened and I said, this is a different sport.
I always remember Pep Guardiola talking about Johan Cruyff in that way, you know, opened his eyes. Was there a person who did that for you?
Well, Johan was the influence of everything when I was in Barcelona and La Masia at that age, and all the coaches that worked in the academy, it was the same because he was the one that injected, you know, that vision, that passion and understanding for the game in the manner that he did. And then from there, obviously, the game is involved. Pep took the game and his vision to a very different level, and then all the other coaches that had helped us to get where we are.
Do you think, is he the greatest ever football person? One, because as a player,
for me, yes.
He's up there.
For me, yes. For me, I fall in love with that team. But honestly, I was 6, 7 years old, completely fall in love with that team, that way of playing.
Okay, so what, posters, kits,
everything,
all that?
Everything. I had everything at home. My dad used to send me to bed. If I was losing 1-0, I was going mad. Yeah.
Have you calmed down a bit now, or not too much?
No, now yes. Now I just suffer enough with Arsenal. I don't suffer with any other team, believe me, I have enough. And just when I see my kids play, that's as well I get, because I really want the best for them.
So volatile is one word. Is another good word fragile? Because it takes 5 years to build the squad, the results, the energy, the atmosphere of one of the best teams in the world. How long would it take to smash all that down? Like 5 bad games, 5 bad weeks?
For sure. That's what we always said, that it's about the culture that create, but that's internal. And that's like, I use the word drizzle all the time. It's like not a lot of rain, but it's always raining. And you go there without the jacket, and after 5 minutes, I don't need a jacket, it's not raining. And then you are soaking wet, you know.
Yeah.
That's what we need every single day, because if you don't do it every day, in 5 days, in 5 weeks, in 2 months, it cracks, and then it's done, and you have to start again, because that's how cruel as well the game is.
So do you think there's been more drizzle this season than normal? I'm not talking about maybe overall performance, I'm talking more about the context, the challenges.
No, it's all about expectations, honestly. And it happened with our families, with my kids. What do we expect from my kid? to get to his room and everything is tidy, go to the toilet and they flush it every time, and the toothpaste is in the right place, and they eat, and they're always in time, and they're always dressed. Not.
No.
It's not like this. I'm
Never
sorry.
happens.
And we want everything perfect, but this game is very imperfect, and we want to be the best. And when you are there and the level of margins are so small, that's what it is.
So how do you deal with expectation then? Because that's a big thing, isn't it? Like you want it, you need it.
And the worst ones are mine. I'm never happy. I always look, I always have the stuff, and you always want to be better, and we should have done be better. We are late on the press. We don't have the right timing. Look at this structure. We haven't anticipated this issue. We didn't plan that well. You know, they made the change that it took us 3 minutes instead of 2. It has to be like this if you want to be better in the position.
Are you an easy guy to work for, do you think?
That's not a question for me.
Would you try to be? Or?
I like to be challenged. I like people really to say what they think, and I like people that are accountable for the jobs, and especially passionate. If you are not passionate about what you do, I think I'm a very difficult person, because I'm very demanding. So I need you to love what you do. You do it for an hour, for 10 hours, love what you do, because that's what we hear, and we have to be contagious and transmit that energy to the team.
Have you got plans to develop this team in attack that you haven't been able to put into place yet because of everything that's happened this season?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of things, but we need to now be really consistent in the things that we are so good at that, because as well you don't have time to train them, and we already have certain players playing in different positions, in different roles, and we cannot put more demands. They already have a lot of demands. Putting more demands is tricky. There's always a tweak, and every game has 3 specific messages that we want to accomplish to be efficient.
So you have, for every game you have 3 specific.
Sometimes 1.
What targets that the team needs to hit?
Yeah, sometimes 1.
Give me an example from a game that's gone. Give me an example from Tottenham or.
It can be one very specific thing. It can be an Achilles tendon of the position. This is the Achilles tendon.
So this is the area to. So almost like not too much information.
Yeah.
This is the bit. This is the bit.
Too much information is no information for me. It's that we cannot dissect the game. We cannot filter the game in a way. You know, it's a lot of things that have to happen, and then try to understand how we get there in different ways. That's it.
2nd in the Premier League, 3rd in the Champions League. Crisis maybe isn't the right word, but it kind of feels like you've been under the microscope all season. But if crisis is the right word, it's the kind of crisis that 90 other clubs would love, right?
I don't know. I think perception versus reality, I think in this sport as well, changes pretty dramatically. So I understand that.
How close is this team to your dream Arsenal?
Far, because that dream is constantly winning major trophies. That's what we have to try to do, and that's the ambition of the club.